Look, this is something that really hit the news as a bombshell. Cecil Harris published an article that said John Gruden was exposed because basically the NFL was investigating complaints from former employees of the Washington football team. But as part of the investigation, the NFL found just a whole ton of emails from John Gruden that proved his statements were bigoted toward African Americans, women. In fact, he had transmitted some emails that showed topless Washington football cheerleaders, their breasts, made homophobic statements, and he just made a ton of statements that showed he's bigoted, he's arrogant, he's racist, and as a result, he was fired from the Las Vegas Raiders as their coach. He was the former coach at Tampa Bay, and they took down his name out of the Ring of Honor. But what I want to just speak to and put it out there is this is a systemic problem. This is only the tip of the iceberg because they never said who he sent those emails to or what emails he received back in return. And this type of problem and culture that John Gruden was casual enough, right, to send thousands of emails back and forth and pictures. This was created, but my thing is, how does this impact the larger picture in the NFL, especially since we came through Black Lives Matter at the end of every end zone. Right. All these T-shirts had all the slogans on them. But when we look at the hiring practice, coaches, and again, the HR personnel, right, to make sure that this type of thing is not tolerated. I just want to toss that out and say, what larger problems does this connect to? What do you see as a result? You know, how the NFL needs to make changes or further investigate this problem.
I just think, honestly, it was just it was a case of a white man being a white man and behind closed doors. And now it's up front and it's out there. Everybody by now knows that this is the environment and this is what existed. If they go back, it honestly, I think they decide to put these things out or release them strategically. If they went back and dug up everybody's emails, you gonna find something on all of them.
And that's why I don't, the NFL, I believe, just threw John Gruden under the bus.
Yes.
They were like, we need a scapegoat. We need a patsy to take the heat off of this heat that's been coming down from the NFL. I found two different narratives that I thought were interesting. I don't know if they're true or not, so I'm not saying that they're true. But one narrative is that the owners were like, I think there was an issue with somebody. It was John Gruden said something about a black person. That's what it was. John Gruden said something about a black person, and that came out on Friday, and it was like, oh, he said something about a black person, no big deal. And then it was like, we need something else. The NFL was like, we need something else because this thing isn't going away. So then they put something out about trans and what he said about the homophobia he talked about. Then they were like, oh, that's it. You got to go.
Red flag.
You got to go. And so one narrative is that, it's okay to say something about black people, but if you say something about the gay community, then that's when you get in trouble. But that's black people, it's okay. I'm not saying that that's true. That's the narrative. Another narrative is that the owners were like, okay, we need to throw somebody under the bus because Dan Snyder and the Washington football team, he's like, I'm the owner. I don't care what you find. You're all gonna, because y'all all got emails and I got emails too. If I go down, some of y'all going down too. So we need a high profile coach that we can throw under the bus. And we got these emails, here you go. And they put them out there. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I think from the ownership standpoint, this white male cartel that knows how to do everything that they want to do and need to do to stay in power and to divert and to your point, Chloe, the PR of it, they're masters at it. They've cornered the game, and so this is just the latest display of it.
And I want to add to that PR point. I think that the Redskins still try to kind of cover it up.
The Washington football team.
Washington football team. Washington football team. The team with no name.
Yeah, the no-name team.
The no-name team tried to cover it up because recently, I don't know if you guys saw in the news that they tried to talk about Sean Taylor and retiring his jersey, and I feel like that was a PR stunt to take away from the fact that all of this is going on. They've already retired his jersey. If you're, Washington football team fan, you would know that they've been talking about Sean Taylor for years. Another thing that was brought to light is that the Washington football team's
Good job, Chloe.
cheerleaders, and I know this because I follow one of the captains on Instagram. I actually went to high school with her. They fired the whole team, the cheerleaders, and just let go of them and rehired a co-ed team. So that was them still trying to cover up some information. And she's been speaking out. Her name's Candace Carell. She's been speaking out about it a lot on Instagram. I think she was on the cover of it's not Forbes. It was another magazine, and she's speaking out about how they just fired their whole team and let them go. And so this is another way for them to cover up what's going on. So I just think that it's ridiculous. It's a PR stunt that they're trying to fill in and not really have this conversation. And that's why it just makes me angry, because it's like, yes, we have people talking about it, but on the Redskins side, Washington football team side, they're really trying to cover it up and not take fault for what they've done and just start pushing other things in the media and fire people to cover up what's really going on. So aside from the fact that what John did is wrong, I think it's also wrong in the light of the Washington football team for not really trying to have a conversation or say what they did wrong in this activity.
Well, let me toss this out there really quickly. You know, we know what some of the issues are that you've highlighted, but tell me, what do you think needs to be corrected in this? Because this is a micro version of what's going on in larger society. But Chloe, I'm going to toss this right back to you and go around. Tell me a solution here of what needs to be done to correct this in the NFL that will have also an impact on the larger society. Because, again, this is just a model of what's going on in government, private sector, everywhere.
I think they need to have some diversity, equity, and inclusion training. No, seriously, I think
trying to get another job, Chloe.
I think they need to start having that in their company. I think they need to start realizing where the wrongs are. So doing research to see how their employees actually feel about this conversation that's going on and how they felt in the past. And then I think that they need to start pushing out internal communications about what they've done wrong and how they're trying to fix it. And then I also think they need to work on the external communication side and start pushing out apology messages, or anything else along those lines. But I think it starts at the core, and that's having some type of training in the workplace, firing those people that have gone against their contracts, their human resource rules, and et cetera. I think that's where it needs to start taking place, because if you don't look at the wrong in it and actually start highlighting that from the beginning, of course people are going to continue to do it and not change their behavior because they're not getting in trouble for the things that they've done, and they also don't know that it's wrong because they don't have the trainings and the guidelines are not put in place.
That's good.
Wow. I mean, you said a lot there, but I really think if we want change in this situation, the onus is on us.
Okay.
We got to stop watching. We have to show them the true value of their product in order to get them to change. If we're still going out here buying jerseys, killing ourselves to go to these games and to support this,
sitting in traffic on Arena Drive.
Yes, if we're still out there supporting it, then they're not going to change anything. It's going to be the same thing, and every year they'll have another John Gruden that they throw out there to say, look, we're doing stuff to promote change. Fact of the matter is that it's going to keep going until we decide to reduce its value as a people. And we make it valueless, then something will happen. Something will change, because then I'm losing money.
Right.
We got to hit them with what really speaks to them.
Yeah. How about you, Heath?
So I am a Dallas Cowboy fan.
All right. Well, that's
Same here.
Yeah. That's right, Chloe.
Cowboy Nation.
Exactly.
Dak Prescott.
Hey.
In the house.
Huh.
All right.
Boom.
So this year.
Boom.
So
Right.
We
I give it to you
we're
this
looking
year.
really good. I mean, we played against the Patriots, and if it wasn't for the kicker, we would have won that game. I'm
You
just
mean
saying. I'm
Tampa
just
Bay?
saying.
Tampa
But
Bay.
see, but
Yeah,
see,
we
No,
would've-
when we played against
this
the
right
Patriots,
here,
I mean, Tampa
this
Bay,
is
I'm
the
sorry.
this is the exact problem that we're talking about.
yes.
You're
Yeah.
talking about something that is completely unrelated to what the topic is at
Is
hand.
that a Dallas
No,
Cowboy hater?
no,
Yeah,
no,
it
I'm
sounds like
coming
somebody
out.
who's
That
watching a
sounds
football
like-
team.
No,
The team with
no.
no name
Has
coming out
another
to say
bad
something.
season.
I am a black man standing up for the injustices that keep being promoted by the National Football League and the way that you do it.
Whose team is 2-3. I mean, I'm just saying.
I'm not even worried about them as far as what they do. The fact
That's
of the
because they
matter.
have too many troubles of their own. Not only does their team suck, but they have this other controversy with
Yeah.
Joe. So,
So
go ahead.
here's the point I wanted to make.
No. You know that these folks hang in packs. Who's
Oh, yeah.
a really good friend
You know what the real question
of Dan
is? But
Snyder?
you know what the real question is?
Jerry Jones.
Who- you
Our
know
boy
what
Jerry
the
Jones.
Jerry
real,
Jones.
The real
Yeah.
question is,
These boys
to settle
hang
this
together.
conversation is who has more Super Bowl championship
I
wins?
mean, clear. I
Hold
mean,
on.
that's
Who
Hold
has
on.
more Super
Hold
Bowl
on.
That's clear.
Hold on,
championship
time out.
wins?
What we're
Yeah,
not
they-
going to do
The Redskins
is
versus the
belittle the
Cowboys.
topic
Yeah.
that my
I just wanted to
brother
set it out
David
there.
brought
So,
out here.
no, we can continue. I just wanted
this
to
is the
have that
point This is the
conversation.
point I'm making. What should be done about this?
Yeah.
The NFL is too big of a American cultural phenomenon for this racial issue, which is an American issue, or the homophobia or transphobia issue, which is an American issue, to be addressed in. I don't think that the NFL is the place where this gets solved. I'll say.
It won't get solved
So
here.
I don't think conversations or boycotts or stuff like that will boycotting the NFL will solve this problem. This is a white male cartel problem, not a NFL problem. But to your point, what can be done in the NFL to address this? I think the same thing that has been done in the NFL to address the movement of addressing racism in the NFL. Whereas before, if you knelt because you disagreed with Black Lives Matter, you would get Kaepernick.
Kaepernick?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Kaepernick.
Kaepernick. You be Kaepernick. You be
Yeah.
Kaepernick.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, but now because there's been so much pushback by the players, because the owners realize that we only own the team, we don't play.
Say that again.
The owners.
The owners.
The owners.
The owners.
We
My,
only
my,
own
my
the team.
owner.
Yeah, the owner.
My owner.
They
Yeah.
only own the team that we don't play. So when the culture of America pushed back against this Black Lives, I guess feeling against Black Lives Matters, and then the players started to push back against that, then the owners had to buckle, and now they have end racism in the end zones.
Yeah.
So I don't think football is place for addressing this bigger issue. I think the culture of America needs to address it, and football players will respond, and the owners will address it in kind.
Yeah. And I like to just toss this out too. I think a big part of the problem is until you change owners, the people who are at the table. Because if you're not going to have black owners, black executives, right, as long as you're going to keep black players confined to the football field by and large, this problem will never change in the NFL. And so it has to be more expansive, have more people at the table so that you can address some of these issues that are, in fact, to your point, Heath, they're systemic, they're cultural.
Let me say this, though, Dave. Let's take a play out of LeBron James' book.
Okay.
He was a very influential player in the NBA, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to go to the team that I want to, and I want you all to get this person and that person, and we're going to win championships. Yeah. And then he said, oh, I'm going to go back to this team, and then we're going to win some championships. Now I'm going to go to LA. He determines where he wants to go. Yeah. So I think if the NFL had some players unite and say, you know what, we're going to do whatever. We're going to not play, or we're going to make sure that we're only going to go to a team that is sensitive for African American players. Okay, I'm a free agent. I'm going to go play for this team over here, and this team over here, and this team over here, and I want these receivers, and I want these cornerbacks to come with me, and we're all going to play this team because this team, this ownership is sensitive to black issues.
What team would that be?
I don't know, but I'm saying,
But
you find the one that's most sensitive to black issues, like Baltimore had a black person in the top offices for a long time.
You're talking about Ozzie Newsome.
Yeah, for a long time. So somebody like that, and so what that will do is to start the process and change the culture.
But you know what though? That has seemed to be something that was easier to pull off in the NBA. I can't recall any player in the NFL system that's ever tried to buck the system like that. Where they've determined, where they were like, I'm going to go here. I've never seen that before.
That's why they gotta do it. You know,
I would love to see it.
You heard it here
really
first from I said all that to say.
Yeah. It's really challenging too when you look at the difference in contract structures, guaranteed money versus in the NFL. You know, you don't have guaranteed money; you have signing bonuses per se, right? And then you look at length of contracts. LeBron, to your point, is great. I think it's better suited for basketball because one man can make a difference. And then pull other players more so than football because you're only dealing with 5.
A quarterback can make a difference.
If he ain't got nobody to throw it to.
But you know you got to bring more parts.
I mean, let's say Dak Prescott, for example.
Yes.
Here we go.
Let's say that as a black man, he was like, you know what? I don't like what Jerry Jones stands for. I'm not going to play here again. I want to go to a team that has that's positive toward the black issues. Yeah.
Could he do that based off his contract though?
Well, he would be a free agent. He'd be a free agent.
He'd have to wait till
somebody else would be a free agent, a wide receiver, somebody who came out in his draft class. I want him to come with me, and then we're going to shop around for where we want to go.
There's a lot of other people that you have to have in place in order to help you do that. If they could do the talking behind the scenes in order to get that done, I would love to see someone possibly a lot more accepted as a superstar than Dakota Rain. But I think that if you had a bigger Afro-American star, I think that it might it might be easier to pull off. I don't know. I mean, yeah. I think there's a lot of places.
Yeah.
I said all that to say that's what I got to say. That's my thing. That's how I think the NFL should handle it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like Dakota could get that pulled off. But
I said all that to say,
just like can't pull off us.
Great ideas, really. And,
Well, we had a lot of great conversations today.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we really did.
Thank you all for having me.
You are so welcome. We should have you again.
I think I will come back again.
I don't know. I don't think it's in my contract right now. And I don't think it's.
I didn't know we had 2 Cowboy fans. That,
I really think that I need to flex my muscle here. I think that I might want to go somewhere where I feel like my voice can be heard.
Wow.
Where I would have the
respect
of my team is so good it doesn't need to have a name. In order to still be good in the NFL. Last I checked, when was the last time y'all made the playoffs? But we're not going to talk about that.
But who has more Super Bowl wins?
Well,
whether you're a diehard Redskins fan or a Cowboy fan,
what you got lately?
Or if you feel like
what you got in your time since you've been on this earth?
My time?
Yeah, since you've been on this earth. Not when you were like a little baby and you ain't know what was going on. When was the last Cowboy Super Bowl victory you personally saw?
It doesn't matter. You know why? Because I was born in Dallas. So I have a right.
Oh yeah.
I don't know about anybody else sitting at this table, but I have a right to be a Dallas Cowboy fan. It was stamped on my. I'm sorry. It was stamped on my birth certificate.
If you want to be a fan of mediocrity, that's what
mediocrity.
You do. Yes.
Mediocrity.
Yes.
But who wants Super Bowl wins?
Okay. Thank you.
So whether you're a Cowboys fan or a team with no names fan, or if you want to talk about social and injustice and if you should have sex on the first date or not, you should tune into our podcast, Elevation Global Media. You should also follow us on Instagram and Facebook so you can hear from all of the hosts here, their perspective on whether you should have sex on the first date, whether you should be a Washington football team, the team with no name fan, or you should join the Cowboys team and root for Dak Prescott. So with all that being said, I say all that to say, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, Elevation Global Media. And with that, it's a wrap and we're out.